Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hello Friend News, your friendly news podcast. Today is Monday, April 15th, and I thought maybe I should do one at the beginning of the week, do one at the end of the week. We'll see what happens on Wednesdays. I am your host, Malika Critchlow. Happy to be here to share the news in a way that's both reflective and supportive. Anyway, so today I'm a little more prepared than I was in the first episode. Um, again, we're going to stick to three stories today. I want to increase it. I was looking to do two, two emotionally taxing stories and then like four good news stories. But I couldn't decide on the two. I kept coming up with three, which would have meant nine stories all together to balance it how I want to balance it. So I just decided to stick with one. Okay. Because the goal is to just be consistent and eventually expand. I don't want to overwhelm myself. And then I don't enjoy doing it and I don't do it. So we're looking for longevity here because I think it has potential. So we're gonna do one good story, then the emotionally heavy one, and then another good story. And today, I think I can share my screen again. Today we are going to use Good News, the Good News Network for Good Stories, and NPR for the story that we have to try and process, right? Okay. So the first good news story that I'm really excited about is the EPA limits carcinogenic emissions at 218 US plants, including Louisiana's Cancer Alley. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to highlight certain aspects of the article so that we kind of get an idea of what's going on, and then we can celebrate. Okay. So basically what it says is the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, finalized a rule Tuesday that will require 218 chemical plants to reduce toxic and carcinogenic airborne pollutants, aiming to reduce the number of people with elevated cancer risk by 96% nationwide. I mean, that's amazing. This is really good news. I'm really happy to hear this. They go on to describe which chemicals. So they will affect chloroprene, which is used to make rubber products, and ethylene oxide, which is used for sterilizing medical supplies. Long-term exposure to these things can cause possible cancer, they're possible cancer-causing agents. So this is the absolute good news. EPA Administrator Michael Rowland visited Cancer Alley during the open comment period of the proposed ruling and said that across the 85 miles dotted with communities, he failed to meet a single person who didn't know a loved one or friend who had either developed cancer, died of it, or knew someone who had. I don't know. They can't relocate those people. I would not want to live there. But maybe they want to live there because it's like family land that handed down. They want the plants removed. I don't know. Anyways, it's still good news. Yeah, they're gonna have to limit those emissions. So that's awesome. And then, so the not good news today, we're gonna go to the Iran and Israel back and forth. Which has the potential to not be so good. Okay. So on Sunday, I believe, or was it Saturday? Iran sent 300 drones and missiles at Israel over the weekend. It is believed to be Iran's first direct attack on Israel from Iranian soil. This was in retaliation to an attack on Iran's consulate in Damascus, Syria, where 7 Iranian military officials, including 2 generals, were killed. So they responded. I think this occurred, the initial attack on Damascus, Syria, at the Iranian consulate, I think was April 1st. And then on April 13th, which I think was Saturday, Iran sent 300 missiles. The good news is, there's a little bit of good news. Nearly all the weapons were intercepted by Israel and its allies. So the civilian or damages weren't massive. I think a 7-year-old girl was severely injured, which is really sad. But it wasn't a bigger civilian casualty issue. So that's what's going on. I don't have a side. I don't want to express a side. What I want to look at is how this can reflect on my own personal life, right? Not affect, but reflect, right? This is a global issue, a collective response. We can look at a collective and see how it affects our individual life. To finish the story, Iran doesn't plan on any more attacks, but Israel has decided that they're probably going to respond. Biden and other Western allies are suggesting caution to Israel in doing so. So it remains to be seen what happens. Okay. So reflectively, what I'm looking at personally in my life is conflict resolution and how I deal with conflict resolution and how can I do so if I am hurt and don't want to be hurt again. So I want to set a boundary, but I also want to set a boundary in a way that doesn't cause harm to others or innocence. Right? So that's what I'll be looking at in my own life. How does this occur and how can I be better with diplomacy and having conversations that may be uncomfortable, having conversations with people that don't really want to have a conversation, so it may not be possible, right? A diplomatic route may not be an option because everybody has their own way of dealing things, and you can't force someone to have a conversation with you or see things from your perspective all the time. That's not always going to work. So what are other routes around it so that you don't put yourself in harm's way and you set a boundary so this person doesn't do so, but you don't hurt them or innocent people, if possible, in the long run. I get that sometimes that's not possible depending on situations or if you're attacked, etc., etc. But yeah, conflict resolution is something I'm going to look at for myself. Gauging situations, deciding if I want to be involved in certain situations. If my friends are involved with a certain type of situation, how would I assist without causing more conflict? Stuff like that. So that's what I would be looking at in my own personal life. This is occurring on a global level. This is how it could occur on a personal level. I believe, of course, would like to have, if there is possibility, conversation. If there's not possibility, I would try to not engage if possible. Yeah, not engage. I will try to probably have conversation explaining why I don't want to engage. Sometimes that's not possible either, or just disengaging and minding my own business. if a friend is being hurt by another or the same person, how can I offer support and encouragement without escalating the situation? So I'll look at that as well, you know? So that's the bad news for today. Well, not bad, I don't like to say bad, but taxing news. And then let's see, we have another good news. We're not doing Yes Magazine today. The world first scientists share what was almost certainly a conversation with a humpback whale. I don't think they know what was said, but they recorded the humpback whale calls the day before, and then they replayed it 3 times the next day, and the whale responded. It circled the boat, it called back. The whale's calls were shorter during the engagement and interaction, and they mimicked the interval it took to respond. So if it took 10 seconds, then they would take 10 seconds to respond to try and communicate with the whale. I don't think they know what was said, but the whale was definitely talking back and was engaging. So it's kind of cool. This is the beginning steps. Eventually, I'm sure they will break it down and figure out what's being said. But this is the beginning. So they said after playing the contact call 3 times, we got this huge response, since Brenda McCohen told the BBC. Then to keep the animal engaged, I started trying to match the latency of her calls to our calls. So if she waited 10 seconds, I waited 10 seconds. We ended up matching each other. We did this 36 times over a 20-minute period. So that's a lot of back and forth, right? Twain's calls were significantly shorter during the engagement than either during the period defined as agitation, when she was circling the boat, ejecting air through her blowhole, or as she was leaving. So they said a strong point of the whole experiment was that the results were determined to have a degree of blinding by independent, uninformed observers reporting on service behavior and respiratory activity of the interacting whale. So that's good news. We're getting closer to more communication with the animal kingdom. I believe the animal kingdom has wisdom that they can share with us, right? And can enhance our lives. Just never know. Can enhance our lives. We all live here on Earth, so it would be great if we can communicate with each other. Okay, so that's the news for today. I hope it wasn't overwhelming and that we learned how to try to process these hard topics in a way that we can better our own lives and learn from it. I just want to give a little background about Hello Friend. I didn't want to do it in the beginning of the podcast because, like, if you don't want to hear it, you can sign off now and you already got the new news part if you are listening to the news part. But basically, Hello Friend came about an idea I had last August. Was it August? Sometime in the summertime, I think. Maybe before, maybe June. Yeah, I had an idea, and the thing is, like, it came out of nowhere and specifically said the name of it was Hello Friend. And I thought what I did was I had created an AI-friendly site that if you're lonely, you can talk to the AI and get some support or encouraging messages back, so you're not so lonely. Or if it's late at night, you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have a lot of friends. I thought about doing so. That's what I did. I actually created a website and stuff. But after running it for a few months and trying to advertise for it, didn't really get much traction. So I shut it down in February. Yeah, I shut it down in February, and I was like a little bit confused as to why the idea came. If it didn't go anywhere. Because it felt divinely sent, right? I wasn't thinking about AI at all. I wasn't thinking about, I was not thinking about, yeah, an AI site or anything. And then the idea just, it came and I was like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to do it. Maybe I'm supposed to do this for humanity. So I did it and it just didn't go anywhere. And so I shut down the site and everything, but I kept the Instagram up. And like last week, yeah, last week, late in the week, maybe like Wednesday, um, the idea came again. Why don't you make Hello Friend like a news site, like your friend talking or sharing the news in a way that's healthy to process? Because I myself have to limit how much news I look at, and I've been like trying to process it more on how can I improve myself and be a more soul-filled being with the news. What was the news telling me about me and my life, right? Because if I'm part of this collective, then it's telling me about myself or us as a whole. So some of the things I know is like purgings and stuff that we have to do, that we have to clear, the aspects of ourselves that we have to see clearly to decide if this is who we want to be or who we don't want to be. So, you know, some of it I'm not going to be able to relate to in my life personally, but a lot of it I've found since trying to do it that I can, right? Like some way I can be like, wow, I do this, or I do understand that. And yeah, it looks awful, awful. But I have been awful too with that line of thinking. So how can I transmute that, you know, and not other it, but see myself in it and try to process it and understand it. And through loving myself through it, through understanding why I did it, not be that anymore. Or be it less in a little integration, right? It gets better every time. It probably wouldn't happen right away, but I'll probably happen less and less and less and less, right? So that's what I was doing. And then so I was like, I just came and asked, why don't you do Hello Friend News, where you talk about the news, but how you process it in a reflective way and look at it in your own life. Also, balancing it in a way where it's not only negative news, but it's you get to share what's going on good in the world too, to help with emotional health and well-being. Because good news feels good. So yeah, so the idea came like Wednesday, and then Friday I just jumped on and did it because I was starting to second guess and be like, well, try all these things and nothing actually works out. Maybe there isn't an audience for it, and maybe there's not. I don't know. But I wanted to try. I wanted to try. And I was second guessing too, not only if there's an audience, but like, can I do it? Like, am I able to reflect enough? And I was like, yeah, I think this helps me. If I have to reflect on it, then yeah, I'll have to find something to reflect. I'll have to do the work, right? So yeah, so I decided to jump on and do it Friday and just wing it, which I did. And most of the things I do, I kind of wing it because I want it to be authentic and not too like what is it? Too edited or like staged, you know? Anyway, so, and then I was like, well, am I going to do it once a week? And then yesterday I was like, no, I think I should do it again. Let me do it Monday. So the beginning of the week and the end of the week. And just now, as I was saying the beginning of the week, and let me go do it this one, I was like, maybe Wednesday too, but it depends. I don't want to overwhelm myself. I really want to be consistent with getting it done and getting used to doing it and getting more comfortable doing it. so that I can expand like how many stories I do and then how often I do it, right? So that's where I'm at with it. And that's where the idea came from. And, the goal is to, again, help, because the news doesn't feel good a lot of times. So to help process it in a way that it has a positive effect on my life and my growth as a person, and also like good news to help with my emotional health and well-being. So I hope that helps everyone, not just me, right? I hope it helps other people as well. And so that's the hope of by being of service to myself and in extension, being of service to others, doing something I actually enjoy doing. So I'm in that phase of my self-discovery, trying to figure out what do I like to do and how could I enjoy doing what I like to do and help others doing it. That's where I am. So this is one of 3 podcasts I have. I have another podcast called Coco in the Sun podcast. And that one, I read esoteric books and talk about esoteric things, chapter by chapter. I read the books chapter by chapter. And then I talk about like things that came across my path or my field or I was thinking about in that one. And it's called Coco in the Sun, CocoAinDesun. So that's the Coco in the Sun podcast. Right now, I am reading The Hathor Material by Tom Kenyon in that podcast. And then I have a third podcast, which is called Vogue Caribbean. And the intention for Vogue Caribbean is all things from a Caribbean perspective, because I'm originally from Trinidad. Although I have lived in Miami 26 plus years, the Caribbean very much is a place that I love. And care about its evolution, its progression. So that one, for now, I'm just reading folklore stories once a week on there. But the hope is to have that expand into conversations about Caribbean events or, things that are important to the Caribbean: culture, arts, food, music, and how we can be better, how the Caribbean can grow and expand, conversations about health and well-being and working together and not leaving anyone behind, and all things, not just only positive things about the Caribbean, but how we can improve as well. So that's Vogue Caribbean. But for right now, it's just folklore stories that I read once a week. They are posted on, I think I posted on Sundays or Saturdays. Those are posted on the weekends. Vogue Caribbean, VOG Caribbean. That's the third podcast. So that's where I am. I'm really happy with the 3. I feel fulfilled with the 3. I feel really, once this one came in, so I had Coco in the Sun. I was like, oh yeah, I love Coco in the Sun. I love doing it. That's the one I've been doing the longest. And then Coco in the Sun started in 2020, I think, or 2019. I had stopped doing it for like a good few years. I might do 1 podcast a year. And then the beginning of this year, I just came on. Yeah, let's get cracking with Coco in the Sun. Let's talk about esoteric things, the things that you're processing, spiritual things, So that came on board since January, and I was really plodding along with that and really happy with it. Enjoying doing it. And then 3 weeks or 2 weeks ago, Vogue Caribbean came on. And I just came like, yo, why don't you just read folklore stories on Vogue Caribbean? And I had also started that one in 2020. I did like 2 episodes and then just never did anymore. But the podcast was still, I never deleted it. So I just picked it up and opened a YouTube channel. All of my podcasts have a YouTube channel, and they're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all 3. So I just created a YouTube channel for Vogue Caribbean, and I just started uploading episodes on the platforms for the podcast. So that one's new. It's like 2 or 3 weeks old. I started back doing that one. And I felt really good. I was like, oh, I have two. Okay. Let's go along with this. And then last week, in the middle of the week, it said, to have a friend and just make it like a friendly news broadcast, you know? And I was like, yo, that's a good idea. And so here we are. So with the third one coming in, for some reason, it feels complete and I feel really good with the three. And doing them kind of gives me something to do like every day. I have like a project every day. So for some of them I do like twice a week, once a week, and this one twice a week, right? Coco in the Sun is twice a week. Wednesdays and Fridays I upload. Vogue Caribbean is once on the weekend, like Sunday I upload, but I record on Saturday. And Have a Friend News is going to be twice a week, Monday and Friday, maybe 3 times, I don't know. But so it gives me something to do every day. And the days that I'm not uploading, I am recording, right? And my day flows really nicely. How this, I mean, I hope it finds the right audience for people that want to engage in a respectful, friendly, loving, encouraging, supporting manner. And we can have discussions, of course, and difference of opinion, but in a way that's not disrespectful, right? So I'm hoping like all the podcasts do find their people and their audience. But if that doesn't happen, I just enjoy doing them. So I'm so happy I found something I enjoy doing. Anyways, I just want y'all to know that even though the world can seem like a scary place or not so nice place, that because you are in it, it is a better place because you are love. You are love. Because you're in it, it's a better place. So just go out there and be the best you can be, living the best life you can live, following your heart and loving yourself. It all starts with loving yourself. From loving yourself, you'll see how that opens up to loving others and being love in the world. But love yourself. You got to start there. Got to start there. How does that start? By honoring and doing what yourself wants to do, as long as it's not harming others. I think as long as it's not harming others. If yourself wants to harm others, it's not. You got to look at why. Okay. But like, other than that, like, try to follow your heart and follow your joys and things that make you happy as much as you can every day. Sometimes it's not possible to do every single thing you want to do because you have commitments, and we live in this world with bills and stuff like that. But do it as much as you can. If it's eating what you want to eat, talking to who you want to talk to, looking at what you want to look at when you have free time, spending your free time how you want to spend it, and not judging yourself for wanting the things that you want. Yeah, your heart wants. Your heart, you have to decide or differentiate between your heart and your mind. I learned that this year. No, last year. I didn't know because I thought what the mind wanted was what the heart wanted. The heart just wants joy. It doesn't try to figure out how. But the mind is like, how can I stay safe and pay the bills? So you'll see that. Anyways, follow your heart, and then your mind will help your heart do what it needs to do. Okay? That's what I'm learning. I'm in the process of learning. So have a great week. I will see you guys again or speak with you guys again on either Wednesday or Friday, depending. And I hope that you're gentle with yourself, you listen to yourself and honor yourself and love yourself. Have a great day, guys. Bye.